Hey, in today's vlog, we talk killing 3 birds with 1 stone, less than $600,000 budget with great schools and a pool, altering price or location, and luxury Lakewood Ranch Real Estate. Real quick, for those that don't know me, I'm Adam Hancock. I have a real estate group in Southwest Florida, and I put out daily videos on Florida relocation and investment assistance. And like for access to over 90 videos in the last 11 months and counting. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to vlog episode number 5, I think it is. It is Monday, March 28th, I think, 29th. I'm not sure if these are going to come out in order as far as when I post them, so just give you some thought about the day we're in. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Got in some family time. My son was, I have a 3.5-year-old. He was unbelievably behaved all week for his mom, so we took him to a new ice cream place. So he likes going to Boca downtown. He's kind of fancy. So we took him to Boca, and then there's a new place he calls Donkey Ice Cream. I think it's called Fat Donkey. It's off of Main Street. They have like gluten-free type of stuff because he's got allergies. All good. Had some clients in over the weekend. So yesterday I'll kind of tell you guys what I did over the weekend, then I'll give you a kind of a run through for today, what the plan is for this week, all that kind of stuff. So I had a gentleman in yesterday and his wife, and their criteria was, we've been talking for a while, just got to town, and their criteria was under 600K preferably, and kind of the caveat here is pool, deal breaker pool, and good school districts. They have a middle school and an elementary, so we're gonna need to be, pretty much all phases of school, elementary through high, we'll need to be cognizant of. And then with the, family model, really looking for ideally a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath at least, with some sort of dedicated den study for an office. So it just gets kind of tricky at the price point with all of those factors. So what you really have to do with that is you need to be, well, you need to consider, does it have to be 4 bedrooms? Can you do like a 3? Because there's not nearly as many models that are 4 bedrooms versus 3 plus something. So like a 3 plus a den and a study would probably be a really nice fit, but there's just not a lot to do that either, especially at the price point. So so we're kind of working through that. So what you really need to be with that criteria is you really probably have to be absolute highest to like 420 to 450 on base price, because when you add the lot and you add the pool and that's not even counting like any significant structural or design options, you're gonna get to 6 extremely quickly. So ideally like a 420, 415 base would probably give you there with some sort of certainty if you don't get too crazy on options. So we're kind of working through that. And then the other thing with like kind of the idea of doing, and to stop saying kind of so many times, but the other idea with doing a like a 3-bedroom with just 1 study, the issue is that office is kind of also your guest room if you have 2 kids that, they're 2 girls, different ages, so they're separate rooms. So what we did with them is it's twofold. So yesterday I took them to Azario. So I took them to Azario for a reason that didn't have as much to do with Azario. So criteria in order: school districts, proximity to beach, price would be 3. But they're in that order, but they're also like really can't drop anything really. I mean, you could wiggle price, but you can't say all of a sudden I'll go to bad schools if I get close to the beach. So they're really kind of even. So I took him to Azario out in Lakewood Ranch because I wanted him to see Lakewood Ranch because of another reason, but I took him to Azario, showed him the Palazzo. I also wanted to see if the Lazio would work, because the Palazzo starts at about $485 out there, and if you do the non-golf membership, the social membership, it's only about $310 a month, so it's not bad. It's pretty normal and the amenities are great. But I wanted to see the Lazio too. So the Palazzo is 2,900 square feet. The Lazio is about 22 and change, but they're the same floor plan. So I wanted to see if the width of like a 52-foot wide lot would be significantly different to them versus the 62, just because the base price puts them way closer to the range. But even more, the reason I took them to Azario was I wanted them to see those models, because what I think what Azario gives you, just for, this is kind of context of this whole thing about, is Lakewood Ranch super far from the beach? And you hear so many things. People always get mad at me for saying it's not that far miles wise. But I mean, the fact is that Azario, which is pretty northeast, in Lakewood Ranch, where they're building that's where Lorraine Lakes is. That's where Sapphire Point is. You basically have like Lakewood Ranch Boulevard that runs parallel to Lorraine. So you basically have the front of certain neighborhoods and the back of certain neighborhoods, front on Lakewood Ranch and then Lorraine. But it's pretty far northeast. So that's 23 miles exactly from Azario to, let's say, Lido Beach, because you could say that Anna Maria Island and Holmes Beach is also parallel to that area, but basically the same distance. So what that does, though, because you have to come west, that 22 miles takes you 42 minutes. I mean, I would say the absolute closest you're going to shave that is about 35 minutes, but it's not 35 miles, it's just west in Sarasota. You can't take the interstate, and that's kind of what you're working with. So I took him there because today we're going to go over to Casilla at Sky Ranch and Esplanade at Sky Ranch. And the difference there is that those are in central Sarasota, about 28 minutes south of Lorraine Lakes, directly parallel to Siesta Key on a map, but east. That puts you at 9.8 miles from Siesta Key, which in every beach you're going to access pretty much, like in Lido, Longboat, Siesta. That'll put you at 15 miles or under, and that will make a big difference. I mean, that 10 miles will take 20 minutes versus 40 something. So that's going to be significant to these folks. Plus the Sarasota school districts are very good as well for the heavy majority. Arguably South Sarasota is the best school district in all of Sarasota, with depending on the middle school you hit and how east you are, but you could potentially hit Philippi Creek or Southside Elementary, and then Brookside Middle, and then, or maybe Sarasota Middle, and then Riverview High. I think Riverview High might be the highest rated high school, even higher rated than Lakewood Ranch and Venice, but they're all pretty comparable. But anyway, you can't go wrong if you go south really in Sarasota as far as schools, and then that changes the beach conversation. So it's not Lakewood Ranch, but it's still the Esplanade community. So they have Casilla and they have Esplanade, but the Esplanade community is coming soon, and it does not have any models out there for you to see. And the Casilla at Sky Ranch, which is another Taylor Morrison community that's already established more than Esplanade, that one doesn't have the same models. So what the Azario thing yesterday solved was kind of 3 birds, 1 stone, basically. So it did the Taylor Morrison thing, it showed Lakewood Ranch, and it opened the door to, you like this model here, you can buy it here. So I was doing all of that at once, and I also wanted to show where Azario was to see if you feel like that 22 miles is far from the beach for you, because some people in New York and New Jersey, depending on if you're coastal or not, I mean, the perspective of how far a beach is, 35 minutes might be a huge win. So anyway, I was doing all of that in congruence with each other, and I do that kind of stuff a lot. And then more importantly about Lakewood Ranch is Lorraine Lakes. So Lennar by far is going to be the closest ability to achieve, let's say 600 to 615, pool, patio, possibly a spa. And Lennar really throws in bedrooms. So you could do like 5. I mean, there's a model out there that's like 450 base in Lorraine that is 5 bedrooms, 4 baths. 4 of the rooms have in-suite baths in them. It's 4.5 and then a half bath. So, I mean, it's just incredible. And that's at like 450, so you can kind of see what you could do there. So, but the important part about Lennar is there's not, I don't think any Lennar in Sarasota city limits that you can build in right now. And there's very, very, very little Lennar in Venice. They do a lot in Tampa, a lot in Riverview, Apollo Beach, Wimauma, that whole corridor on 75 North. But if you want, the thing is if you want Sarasota, the price might not work. So this kind of solves all this kind of stuff. So you could do 600 in Lorraine Lakes in Lennar, but you're 22 miles from the beach. It's right over by Azario. Or you could say, okay, does 650 work? But you need to see one before you see the other. So all of that to say is that was kind of the approach. So that today we are going directly to Casilla, going to talk about both Casilla and Esplanade at Sky Ranch, and then probably go south to maybe Hammock Preserve, Sunrise Preserve, Promenade Estates, more Palmer Ranch. So you can see if Sarasota city limits work for you, and then you can try to drive that to the beach and see how far that feels, especially if you like Lido better than Siesta. You have to come over and then a little up, but nonetheless, you're going to be 10, 12 miles closer. So see how that feels. And then then the goal is, in 2 days, you know everything. And then day 3, you circle back, you get deeper. You can't buy in any of these communities right now anyway, so it's a logistics game. And on that note, so I have I know this is kind of a speed ramble here, but I have a new VIP call to the Esplanade community. So at 2:30 today with a different customer from last week. So I think I should find out. I'm hearing a bunch of different things. I'm hearing that it could be significantly more expensive for the same model at Esplanade versus Esplanade Sky Ranch versus Esplanade Azario, which to me, I get the Sarasota city limits thing. I think if it's more expensive, it's related to the land was acquired later and it was more expensive for Taylor to build there now than when Azario was purchased. But other than that, I can't see them being 100 grand more a model, or even like 50, because Azario has golf and they have all this other stuff. And so I think it's with shades of gray. So maybe one model is 470 at Azario, maybe it's at 500 at Sky Ranch, but that'll be interesting to see what they do there. I think what they're doing for the next 2 weeks is, my guess is that they're gauging demand, because they released a map of lots, and what's going to be built, or the width of the lot, what you can build there, how many there are, where they're based. So with that, and then they're going to do calls with people for like 2 weeks. So what I think they're doing is, I think they're gauging demand, not only overall, how serious people are, but also on specific lots, because if everybody wants, this always happens, everybody wants like south facing and like on the angle of the lot against like water preserve, and it fishtails at the width, so you have the bigger of the lots. Everybody kind of wants the similar stuff. So if every single person on that wait list wants like 3 of the 25 lots, then I think they're very possible they're going to use all that information to go to email bid, just because they can't determine how to make it fair, because they can't determine who was first or any of that kind of stuff. So there's goods and bad with that. It's not the worst thing in the world, as far as if there's 150 people on that list, you have a way better shot at winning an email bid at 10 or 15K over the lot versus trying to prioritize or whatever. So we're gonna, that'll be interesting. So I'll kind of give you guys feedback of what I get from that call, but I think there's gonna be a sellable release on his Esplanade Sky Ranch sometime in April. Be surprised if there wasn't. So, but this gentleman from yesterday, we are going to take there, and I think he's going to be in the mix for that as well. So I'll give you guys updates there. So that was kind of like the weekend, and kind of get like, start to get a pattern of how I approach this kind of stuff in order. It's an efficiency game, and it's also, the more context I get and the tighter my feedback loop is, I get a real sense. Now it's with shades of gray, depending on like different people and stuff, but I usually get a real good sense of the approach to take and the order to take it to solve the boots on the ground trip thing for a relocation client. Because I think if you take the wrong route, it might be more of a burden and a headache when you go back, versus giving you a lot of context that I can then plant a million seeds while you're here that I can use later and say, remember when we were here, this is what this is, and remember the style of this, that this is in Lakewood here, but they're also doing it here in Venice, and that kind of thing. So that was the weekend. So today I'm going out today. I should be on site a lot. Hopefully I'll get some time to record there. I'm going out with a new client today, meeting them at 10:30 at their hotel off the university. And they're $1 million budget. Schools do not matter. So we are going to do maybe the Founders Club. We are going to definitely do Azario. We are going to probably do Waterside, both sides of the Lake House Cove and Shore View. Maybe the Lake Club, just to see what's going on there. $1 million is could be tight there depending on the square footage, but maybe the Lake Club, just because it's in the same corridor and it looks different than anything else. Might hit Windward, I'm not sure. Windward and Waterside are cool if you don't care about schools, because they are in the lower rated school district for high school. And then, so I'll kind of hopefully get some stuff on site for them and talk about their unique needs compared to others. And then on Waterside, another thing is I actually was able to get an April release for a client that I found on the wait list. We are number 1 on the wait list for a certain lot. I got an April release, so they should be signing on April 1st. So I'll talk about some updates for that, see what's moving at Waterside in general. They're at the Lake House Cove Homes by Town side. What else? And then, I have a myriad of, I think I have 4 or 5 new clients coming in town this week, a lot of spillover from last week that haven't left town yet. And I'll be on site a lot, and I'll try to bring you guys in as much as possible. Hiring an assistant officially, she signed. She'll start in 2 weeks, hopefully before that. And then I need to, might ask your guys' input for some rearranging of the office. I'm bad at design, but I need to get stuff prepped for her, so it's not like a so I don't look like a crazy scientist like my office looks now. And yeah, I got all that going on. So I'm coming into downtown Sarasota now. I hope that wasn't too much of a babble. I just have a lot on my mind that I wanted to share with you guys. And I know sometimes that I have a lot of slang and stuff in between that may be distracting, but I'm just trying to cram it all in here. So that is the plan. I will bring you guys in many different points today, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, this is what I was talking about. Obviously, I need severe help here. So do I go desk here and go kind of double assistant Adam situation? Get rid of this big guy. This was this kind of a studio. I don't really use it like that anymore. Do I put a desk over here? Do I move offices completely? I need help. So if you have thoughts, throw them my way. Hey guys, I was about to take off for my 10:30 meeting up in Lakewood Ranch, and I was using the time in between to book a tour for a client I have coming in Thursday. So I thought it was interesting just because of how people usually think about Venice. So these folks they're coming in Thursday, so actually it'll be the first tour of April, which is cool. And they're a $650 budget cap, and they were really honed in on Venice. So it's a little simpler because we're just looking at that little section there. But I know a lot of people think about, they think Welland Park, which is that Northport, Venice, Englewood. They think Venice Island, but there's so many different versions of Venice that I don't think people really think about. So I want to kind of talk through my thought process of that tour for them. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to do kind of 2 phases for that criteria that I think are both interesting. And I'm going to show a map here. I want to show you guys where it's at, but we're going to do this corridor that's like North Venice, Nokomis line. It's actually like Lakewood Ranch in certain neighborhoods where you can actually write Nokomis or Venice interchangeably on your address, just like Lakewood Ranch in Bradenton. So there's a little strip that I like. That's Venice Woodland. Well, it's really, they want to see Toscana Isles, which is D.R. Horton, if you like that. I know that the entrance is very grand and stuff, but D.R. Horton's a little bit more of a track builder. So we're gonna look at D.R. Horton, but we're also gonna look at Venice Woodlands, the Toll Brothers side. It's Meritage and Toll. And these are all kind of in this little section stripped down. So if you're coming from Sarasota down, Toscana would be first, then Venice Woodlands and this other neighborhood. So Venice Woodlands is interesting because it's Toll's more affordable option, and Toll's kind of I know it's different everywhere. People say they're very different out of state, but they're really a luxury semi-custom builder here because they build the aisles in Lakewood Ranch, which is very nice. A lot of people like, but this one is a $650 pool, good square footage. This kind of operation you can do there, so that's interesting. And then there's Aria, which is Neil's signature, which is Neil's luxury line. So we're gonna do Toscana, Aria, Venice Woodlands, and that's in this North Venice strip. And then we're gonna go from there and contrast against Welland Park, Island Walk, which is the Island Walk's a neighborhood that's really close to Grand Paradiso, and it's really close to where they're building the new downtown. And then we're gonna look at Grand Palm as well, which is gonna be about 1.8 miles back from that 41 strip. I think that's a kind of an interesting route of, if you're gonna look at Welland, I think it's also worth looking at, if you're not Welland, Venice versus Palmer Ranch, it's also worth looking up a little bit. And I'll show you where these are on a map. So it's interesting the shape of them because they're both similar place to the coast, but in 17 to 25 minute difference north to south. So it's interesting. So I'm gonna flip to a map here real quick, and then before I hop on the road. Okay, so I just wanna show you guys real quick. So right here, okay, so this is Island Walk right here. So that's gonna be that's Welland Park basically. And then this up here is Aria. That's where Venice Woodlands is as well. So you kind of see, look at the shape of it. So this is 9-10-ish miles from, this would be Venice Beach here, Casperson, Brohard Park, which is the dog beach. So if you go here to here, but then look at the shape of this as you curve around. So then you're like, boom, right here, which you have Nokomis Beach, which a lot of people like, and then Venice Beach here. So it's basically the same distance, arguably closer. So I think that's pretty interesting. So this would be Venice Woodlands, Toscana's like right here, and then Aria are right there, and then this would be Island Walk, Grand Palm, Grand Paradiso, Renaissance Oasis, and then you can see kind of like above Nokomis and Osprey is where you get to Siesta Key, downtown where I'm at now. So anyway, I think it's interesting if you're shopping those areas. That gives you like a good 6-7 communities that give you a really good perspective of, they're very different in different locations, of the Venice as a whole if you're not a Venice Island criteria. So that kind of sums that up, and I'm going to hit the road here in a second, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Better than it was, I think. Not great, but we'll see. Sliders. This is shore view with Pulte. We are in the Beacon model at Azario Esplanade, and this is the biggest model. The important part here is they're on 90-foot lots, which I think is going to be the only foreseeable future to getting a golf lot with a water view. So really the Palazzo, if it doesn't have that availability, the Beacon becomes way stronger. And you can see this is like just a bonus room, but this place is massive. We went to Homes by Town at Waterside, and actually the Pulte side was a little bit more attractive because of the availability, but we were quoted at them thinking that the water lots at Waterside for the future release is going to be $350K a lot, which makes it a $1.2 million conversation and makes a lot of communities, including the Lake Club, way more attractive. So going to finish out here, see what the deal is with availability, and then go to the Lake Club, maybe the Founders Club, maybe the Isles, and then see what makes sense after that. What's up, guys? Just got done with my tour from midday today, so it was about 4 or 5 hours. So we went, so just a reiteration of the criteria. It was about $1.2 million as a preferable cap. So they're selling a company moving from Alabama to Florida. And we're kind of doing the whole Lakewood Ranch thing primarily, so definitely more of a suburban feel. So they were staying off of universities, so what I decided to do was to do the kind of lower university first, because I had a feeling about Azario that might be interesting, but I wanted to start here, drive there, and then come back so you can see what it feels like, to see if that's like a sacrifice of being 10 minutes out. But so we started at Waterside, we went to Homes by Town, because Lee Wetherington and Arthur Ruttenberg at Waterside right now is not really a conversation availability-wise, and then we went over to Shoreview to view Pulte because we heard about water lot availability. So Waterside basically right now, if you want water, and at Homes by Town, it's a pre-release possibly in December. So you're looking at maybe not being in that house until 2023 possibly, if you can win one of those lots. And so that's not as attractive for these folks because they want to really be maybe under contract before May's over. So we kind of parked that, liked the Homes by Town, liked the Outrigger, kind of took that conversation over to Shoreview. So Shoreview is the all Pulte side, a little bit more mature in community, pretty close to the Waterside place. And it's not going to be all that different price points. So we looked at the Club View model, and we looked at the Pinnacle model, which is always popular. And there it looks like a lot more viable opportunity to get a water lot potentially. So it's going to be a bid. It's called easy offer, but it's going to be an email bid most likely. They were taking reservations historically, but what they're doing now is basically like they stopped taking reservations. So it's all going to be email bid. But and I think DeVos is doing the same, but the stuff that was currently on reservation, they're kind of like honoring that. But if anyone drops off, which is a high chance because it's like 20-25% down with Pulte, you got to be ready to do it. If anyone drops off at all, then those are going to go to easy offer too. So I think there might be 4 or 5 different south-based water lots available in there. So that could be interesting. And I also found out, which is really interesting, I saw a dock off the back of one of the models, and I thought it was just like they were peacocking a model thing, because they're right on the lake, you know, and apparently like 60 something lots total in there. They have easements to do a dock off of your backyard after it would be aftermarket after you close. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but anyway, so the crazy part about what happened then was, okay, so this is all sounding really good, right? The Pulte side looked like more available, all this kind of stuff. So then we hear that what we think actually is going to happen on the water lots that are released, that haven't been released yet, from $260,000 to $350,000 for the lots, and that's on a very nice body of water, but it's on a lake, so it's just a premium that really takes that budget of even like a decent base price. It's a large jump. So then is it worth it, right? So we're looking at Waterside because of the location. It's a unique community, granted, but the location, right? So the Lake Club is over there, the Isles is over there, and Founders Club is over there. So those are all in that location. So with that kind of premium, where that's not what the water lots are costing at Lake Club, that's not what they're costing at many others, then it really brings a lot of other ones up to say, it really makes you shop around, basically. So then we went from that straight to Azario, because I wanted them to see the drive, but I also thought that I know how compelling that community is amenity wise, and I also thought that the Palazzo and the Beacon were really attractive floor plans for that budget, and you can do a lot of damage under $1 million there with golf deeded in your membership, or deeded in your title with, versus like, not spending it on the lot, basically. And those water lots, I'm pretty sure the ones that are going to be released on deeded golf, because they're releasing like the nicer water lots on water and on the golf course. Like I think those are going to go probably, even with the bid off, probably under 175, maybe lower. They might be released at like a minimum bid of 130. So they really, really liked Azario. And the interesting part about Azario is the lot sizes. So the Palazzo model, so they have the different collections that, because of the widths of the lot and the size of the homes, they can only be built on certain lot sizes. So like a smaller house could be built on anything, right? But the bigger houses can't go down. So they got to like kind of space that out, right? And so there, the Palazzo, which is a lot of people's favorite, 2,900 square feet. It's laid out really nice. It's a 2.5 with a den, and 2 of the bedrooms are en suites, including the master, and but really nice elevation. So that one is built on a 62-foot lot, which is nice, which is like a lot of large homes and communities, because it's single story at 3,000 square feet. It needs the width, but the width also allows for a very nice backyard area, because they can only build the backyards to the planes of the house as far as the patios and the screened in area and all that kind of stuff. So it just laid out nice. And the base plan in their non-golf's like 470, and even with golf it's like 515. But it gets interesting from there. So then we looked at the Beacon, because it looked like the lot availability on the south-facing lots that were the best ones as far as what we liked. It looks like they were only the larger lots. So then we went to the Beacon because it was more like choosing to do a bigger house on purpose because of lot ability and then a lot access. And then more people might not have access, or more people might not want the burden of 3,500 square feet, 3,300 if they're older and empty nesters and that kind of thing. So that it will make it a little bit more, I'm kind of maneuvering here to get less people in play to give us better access, basically. But it also gives you kind of a couple of things. So the Beacon you can build on both a 74-foot lot and a 90-foot wide lot. So it gives you both those in play. And a 3,300 to 3,500 square feet on a 90-foot lot gives you roll out of space in between the neighbors. So that one like really rose up to the top, because I think it's going to be a $900-something thousand conversation with pool, that size house. It's laid out very nice, high ceiling, stock, a lot of stock things on that model. we found a lot that's south facing, and it's like right in the middle of a fairway, so you don't have people gathering on the green or the tee box. So, and that one, it looked like to me that could be a summer release, maybe before. So that one's really interesting. And then, so then go from there, kind of maneuvering this pattern, right? Go from there to all the way back to Lake Club, because now you're talking at the 1.2, 1.3 stock homes at Genoa at Lake Club, which is the last enclave, all the availability now. The Lake Club has Lee Weatherington, Arthur Ruttenberg, and I think it's 5 builders, but it's the highest average price point in Lakewood Ranch. It's very grand. It's right down the street from Waterside. So we're going back to the Waterside location, which is a plus because it's 12 minutes closer to town, and it's right off of University. And then with a different builder and a different neighborhood. So kind of going back to that corridor. If you're not high on Waterside, then this is what else is there. And we drove that one. It just looks like I always tell people, it looks like nothing else. It looks like a different country. It's very grand. It's very Tuscan, Mediterranean feeling. And Azario is too, but it's just very different. So I think, and then stock builders are very nice. It's right up there with the Lee Weatheringtons and Arthur Ruttenberg and the custom guys of the world. So it gives you all these two different things. If Azario was too far and you wanted the Waterside location, Waterside didn't work, then that's how Lake Club comes in play if you're at that budget, because the lower end in Lake Club right now is going to be $1 million. And then, but also, so that was kind of our nutshell. So Azario is kind of really attractive for the total package. And I like kind of the lot plays, and I think the availability is going to be decent. And then, so then from here, so I just dropped them off at the hotel. And from here, what we're going to do is, they're really looking at it the right way. Very efficient. We're really prepared. They were reaffirming things in person versus never having seen them. So they were ready to digest this conversation. And the best way to make a decision in a 3-4 day trip is to be prepared enough where, because I don't get crazy. I don't look at 17 models in person and all the stuff that isn't going to help. It's fun, but it's not going to help you make a decision as far as, because what you need context on the area, the community specifically. Okay, if I like this area, then what else is around this area? So you're doing all these things in tandem. And then a lot of people are shopping multiple parts of Sarasota at one time, but they were really, really ready. So this was it was a very pleasant way to do it. It's very efficient. And what it allowed for is now 4 more days on the trip. It allows for plenty of bandwidth, plenty of circle back time, allows you to actually feel what they feel like, drive them, do all the kind of stuff without having to worry about all the semantics in between. So they're going to hit now, tomorrow they're going to go to the Isles. They're going to walk back through the Lake Club models, maybe do the Founders Club, and just to give you a little bit more of the same in a different stylistic age, all that kind of stuff mixed, different builders in some cases. But this is basically now it's saying this part of University Lorraine area versus Azario's area. And those communities are different enough. I think it's visceral enough where you can make a decision. So that's what that is going to happen there. So it went well in that respect. Now I need to post. I'm posting. So today is Monday. I'm posting my vlog 2 and 3. I'm going to schedule out for the next 2 days, which by the time this video comes out, I think we'll have 4 or 5 out. So I'm going to do that now. And then, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of fill you guys in on the tour. I tried to take some stuff in person, but when people ride with me, sometimes I don't want to be rude and a lot of people don't like being on camera. So I tried to take stuff in between, but it was very, very insightful if you're doing this kind of thing. And I think it's interesting, I'm getting more and more feedback is related to lot availability and what's going to evolve over here. So then, like a Homes by Town at Waterside, which I used to be incredibly high on a little bit ago, it's almost non-existent availability for a period of time. So you can almost like park it and continue at some other point. But anyway, so that's kind of the download from this one. I'm going to set up my laptop and catch up a bit. I'll probably debrief at the end of the day as far as what's happening now. So the people from earlier at Sky Ranch, it went very, very well. So that kind of like, that plan of taking to Azario back down, that kind of worked out in a way that makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to find out what happened there with Deanna, and then I'm going to talk to the people that had an actual intro VIP call, the very first one on the first day with the new Esplanade at Sky Ranch. So that's going to kind of use all of that to debrief at the end of the day, and I will catch up with you guys then. Thanks. All right, guys, so I'm finishing off the University Town Center. That kind of wraps up this day, Monday here, the 28th, I think. So I did a lot of catch up. I was on the road a lot the last few days. So I have the people that I toured last couple days, we brought them over to. So Deanna, my agent, was bringing them on day 2 to Casilla at Sky Ranch. That worked out just like I thought it might. They wanted beach proximity. Taylor Morrison, they liked Esplanade's offering, but the Esplanade at Sky Ranch is going to be a little bit more expensive, and Casilla, which is the a little bit more affordable version right in front of there, that's kind of like Park East is going to be for Esplanade and Lakewood Ranch. That worked out really good. It's about 10 miles from Siesta Key, significantly closer to the beach, about 20 minutes closer to the beach than a lot of the Taylor Morrison in Lakewood Ranch. So that's happening. I had another gentleman that is actually a realtor out of state looking to buy an artistry, so we waitlisted him. So I think they're going to come out in the next couple weeks on certain lots. So we were talking about western exposure versus southern and that kind of thing. So they're coming in town in the next week or two, and we'll see what happens with artistry here. I still need to catch up on the VIP call for Esplanade at Sky Ranch to kind of tell you guys what happened there. I have a gentleman coming into Tampa to tour kind of like Tampa Palms, Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills, Land O'Lakes, Lutz area. So I'll fill you guys in on that. That's going to be about midweek. I'm trying to get a little bit more up in like Clearwater, Tampa, St. Petersburg. I've spent a lot of time there. I know that area very well. I just don't get up there as much as I used to, and I talk about Sarasota a lot, so I just want to kind of, there's like some spot on my forehead here. It's weird with the camera. So we'll see what happens there. But again, I'm trying to give you guys as much as value as I can based on the interactions I have. So I'm going to continue doing that. Thank you so much for the support. I'm going to wrap up here, I think, for the Monday. I don't want to kind of overwhelm the kind of like standalone conversations. I'll film a little bit of University Town Center on the way out, the kind of the outro. But thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll film a little bit here. You'll see a little bit of the tour, and then I'll wrap up. All right, guys, that does it. Thanks so much again. Very grateful for all the support. Please check out the previous vlogs here. All my contact information, relevant information is in the description below. And thank you again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.